Right, a very good afternoon to everyone. The Second Region Child Protection Court Number One, Liberty County, is now in session. We are proceeding today virtually by agreement. All right, good afternoon, Ms. Adams. I see Mr. Pouncil and Ms. Tanner and Ms. Trousdale.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. If we may, Mr. Pouncil and I would like to see if we could talk to the department and the ad litem. We may be able to resolve this case without the need for a hearing.
Okay, Ms. Adams, are you amenable to that, Ms. Trousdale?
Of course.
Okay, very good.
Judge?
Yes, ma'am.
If I may also say, Mr. Hip was in the wake of the tornado. So he may be joining us with the last 3 digits of 603.
Okay.
So if you happen to get a telephone number, I know that their internet is out. If you happen to get a telephone number, if you could pull him into the room as well.
Okay, I certainly will. Sorry to hear that. That was a storm for the ages. My goodness. And such a strange one. So yes, I will keep an eye out for that. So if you all will stand by.
Judge, can you confirm whether or not a Miss Domer is present?
She's not.
She's not. Okay.
No. She they due to the storm, she lost power and they're flooded in.
You and Allison, Cortez asked for you to go back into the breakout room, I guess, if you want to. So I just wanted to, well, the Sierra's here now. They're both here. Never mind.
Well, it started to close out, so.
Oh.
So you the 3 of you want to go back into a breakout room, that's fine.
Yeah, if they want to meet with me, that's fine.
Okay, I'll put you all in number 2, Mr. Pouncil, Ms. Tanner, and Ms. Trousdale.
Judge, I would say, I think the other attorneys would agree, we do not have an agreement, but we do have a better understanding of everyone's position.
Okay, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the breakout room so we can get started. Right, I believe we are, all of the attorneys at least are back in the virtual courtroom. I no longer see the parent's device, I don't believe. In the interest of SW and EW for an adversary hearing, the court calls first for the mother, Jennifer Kersey. Jennifer Kersey. All right, what about the father, Austin Ware? Austin Ware. All right, there's no answer. Again, I no longer see the device named Jennifer Kersey that I believe both parents were on based on the video, but no answer, and presently no one at all is in the waiting room.
Yeah, and Judge, I just want to say that they were on, and I called them to kind of discuss what was going on, and I think they may have logged off their phone when I may have kicked them off when I called them. So I'll send them a text message and ask them, make sure he's getting back on.
Okay, very good. I'll keep an eye on the waiting room. Okay, all right. That number is ending in 498. It's a 346 area code. I don't know if that is them or not, but let me call again for the mother, Jennifer Kersey. Jennifer Kersey. And what about the father, Austin Ware? Austin Ware. Right. No answer. Ms. Adams, is the department ready?
Yes, Your Honor, with an issue. We did have a couple of witnesses, both of the grandmothers in this case, have notified us that due to the storms, they cannot appear, and I've been told that their battery's out, so they can't even appear by telephone.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I just got here. I'm Tina Domer.
Okay, Tina Domer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And that would be maternal.
Austin's mother.
Okay, paternal grandmother. Okay, Ms. Domer. All right. So. Okay, and as you were saying, Ms. Adams.
Well, we still may need understanding. I'm coming into this case a little bit late, so I'm going to ask for a little bit of leniency. But the maternal grandmother, I believe we need her too. And we maybe, I'm not necessarily asking that we continue the whole case. I think that we go ahead and move forward today, get as much as we can done, but we may want to ask that we not finish our case until another day so that we can get that person here as a witness. I feel like the storm is a very good reason to not have a particular person. If they don't show up the next time, I completely understand moving forward without her.
Well, we will get as much done as we can today. We certainly would like to finish, but we do have available the 22nd. So
I'm unavailable the 22nd, Your Honor. Well, I think I have something with you that morning.
right. Yes, I think that has become the only case on the docket.
Unfortunately, I'm not available that afternoon, though.
Okay, all right, very good. So then Ms. Tanner, Mr. Pouncil, Ms. Trousdale, are you all ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right.
Judge,
So,
could you unmute the Mr. Hip as well? He's asking to be unmuted.
yes, okay, so press *6, Mr. Hip. That ought to do it. *6.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm at a real loss here. I've got guys working with chainsaws in my front yard, and I've got my 3 dogs in here with me, and they're going crazy. So I'm going to have to stay muted.
Okay.
But I just want to let y'all know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Very, very good. Then you may go back to mute then, or I can assist you with that, which I think I just did. Hopefully he was ready. So, all right. Any request for opening statements? We had quite a somewhat extended hearing last time. But if there's no one asking for any opening statements, then Ms. Adams, you may call your first.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to call Celeste Williams.
I'm sorry. Can I have an opening statement, Your Honor? I was trying to talk to the parents about how to get back on.
Okay, yes, you may, Mr. Pouncil, and we'll go around the proverbial circle and see who all would like to, but you may proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. Just to keep it real simple, today, obviously, the department is asking for temporary managing conservatorship, and they feel that they can meet the burden under 262.201 in regards to what needs to be shown in a full adversary hearing. Our position is that the department does not have enough evidence to meet that burden, Your Honor. The parents are asking from this court, or believe a better position is to allow them to do the services. Well, I'm not going to speak for Ms. Tanner's client, but my client is asking to do the services and believe that this should be not a TMC case for petition to terminate parental rights or temporary managing conservatorship. But he's asking, he believes that this should be a participation in service case. He's willing to do the services. He's willing to maintain the children where they are, to have supervised visits with the children, and he's willing to do all that, Your Honor. And so with that being said, I don't think we're going to ask at the end of the day, because we don't believe that the department is going to be able to meet their burden. They don't have any evidence to support anything other than, or corroborate anything, any of the allegations that have been brought up. So we're going to ask for this to be a services case, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have that in the form of any pleadings, Mr. Pouncil, if you know?
As far as it being a services case, no. I'm sorry.
264, yes.
No, I'm not sure with the department if they played as an alternative or not, but we did not, Your Honor. We filed I believe we filed a counter petition, but as far as the services portion of that, I'm not sure.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Tanner, any opening?
Your Honor, I would agree with Mr. Pouncil's opening, and I'm sorry I didn't get to unmute earlier, but I would ask the rule be invoked.
Okay. All right, thank you. Ms. Trousdale?
No, Judge, I don't have an opening statement.
Okay. Okay, very good. Ms. Adams, anything from the department?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, everyone, if I can have your attention, the rule has been invoked, and what that means is that potential witnesses may not be privy to, may not listen to the testimony of any other witness. And equally importantly, you shall not discuss this case with anyone except an attorney on the case while this hearing is pending. Related to our live streaming on YouTube. Once I place you outside the courtroom, the virtual courtroom, you may not listen on YouTube or in any form or fashion. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, if we do not finish today, again, you, having been placed under the rule, shall not discuss the case with anyone except an attorney on the case. Does everyone understand? Does anyone not understand? So parties and their spouses may remain in the courtroom. Ms. Adams, whom do you designate as your agent, your representative?
Maria.
Okay.
But Celeste will be my first witness.
Right.
So
Thank you, ma'am. You may proceed, Ms. Adams.
thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, I'm sorry, were the witnesses, I didn't know if both of the grandmothers were present. If so, I wanted to make sure that they were excused.
Well, I placed them in the waiting room. I believe we only had Ms. Domer at this point.
Okay, is Miss Brooks, Eva Brooks present?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
Ms. Brooks, if you're present, please answer. All of the numbers I see, which are 3, are numbers that we know.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Thank you.
All right. I call Celeste Williams. Ms. Williams, are you the investigator that's been assigned to this case?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children are involved?
2.
Okay, we're not going to say their names, just their initials. So the younger child, what is their initials?
SW.
And how old is that child?
2 years old.
All right. And is he a little boy?
Yes.
All right. And so the older child, what are her initials?
EW.
And how old is she?
4 years old.
Do they share the same parents?
Yes.
And who are their parents?
Jennifer Kersey and Austin Ware.
When did you first receive this case?
I first received the case on March 19th, 2024.
And did you receive an intake with allegations of which you needed to investigate?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were the general concerns that you received that you needed to investigate?
Physical neglect, neglectful supervision were the allegations in the initial intake.
Okay, so what did you do first?
The first thing I did was of course, I tried to look up the parents and contact them by phone, but they did not have a working number. So I responded out to the grandparents' home because that was initially the address that we received when the intake came in. So I responded out to the grandparents' home, and per Mike Domer, he's the paternal grandparent.
I'm going to object as to anything Mike Domer says as being hearsay.
Okay.
Don't tell me what he said.
Okay.
Did you speak to him?
Yes.
All right. What else did you do after you spoke to him?
I found out that the family no longer resides at the home.
All right. So what did you do next?
After that, I was given a address of a friend by the name of Amber Girolamo. It's her name. And she stays in Cleveland RV Park. And I went and located the family there.
Okay. Did you locate both of the parents at that location?
Yes, ma'am.
And what day did that occur?
March 22nd.
Did you talk to the mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you talk to the father as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Were they together or did you talk to them separately?
Separately, and then I spoke with them together.
Okay, who did you speak to first?
Jennifer Kersey first because she was outside of the home. And then I waited on her to calm down and I was able to
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
So when you first approached Jennifer Kersey, the mother,
Yes,
what was her reaction?
very nervous. She was very upset. She did not want to speak with me. She was not cooperative with the department at all.
Okay. Did you ask her questions?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
What questions did you ask her?
If she could confirm her name. I asked if I was speaking with the correct person.
When did she start getting nervous? At what point during your discussion?
I believe once I got out of the vehicle and she seen my badge, and I was walking up to her.
All right. Did she identify herself as Jennifer Kersey?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So what did you discuss? What did you ask her next?
I asked then if I could speak with her inside of the home, and then I asked her, do she reside at this home?
Okay. And what were her responses?
Yes, I could speak with her, and inside of the home. And she stated that she really didn't want to go through this again because she knew exactly how CPS works.
All right. What did you talk about next? What did you go into the home with her, or did you continue your conversation outside?
I was granted access to enter the home by her and her friend, Miss Amber. Once I went into the home, I read the notification of rights form to her, debriefed her about the case that we received, and I was able to interview her and see the children.
Okay. Let's talk about the interview that you had with her. What things did you ask her about?
I asked her about the her demographic information.
What does that mean?
So what that means is a little bit of background about her. So I asked, where she's living, where was she born and raised, how many total children do she have? I informed her, of course, of the allegations that we received. We talked a little bit about that. And then we proceeded with the interview.
All right. What things did you ask her in the interview?
I asked her, is she currently living at this residence now? And she stated to me, yes. I asked her, did she have any intentions and plans on going back to the paternal grandparents' home? And she told me no, because she knows that this case had occurred due to a report that was called in by them, is what she stated to me.
Okay. What was your next line of questioning?
My next line of questioning was, I informed her of the allegations that we had received, which was our concerns were that her and Austin are under the influence of drugs, but there was no known drugs of what they were under the influence of.
I'm going to object at this point, Your Honor, of the witness testifying to something that's not been admitted into evidence.
Overruled at this point.
Okay, so did you ask her if she was currently using drugs?
I did. And
what was her response?
No, ma'am. She's not. That was her response.
Did you ask her if she had previously used drugs?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was her response?
Yes, she has a drug history of a past of using heroin and
objection, non-responsive, and narrative after yes.
Overruled.
You can continue. What drugs did she say that she used?
Heroin, I know for sure, and marijuana.
Okay.
Yeah, time frame.
I'm sorry?
Can I get a time frame?
She stated to me.
Is Mr. Cortez asking my client questions, Your Honor? I'm
asking if we get a time frame for relevancy.
I said yes, we could get
Thank you, Judge.
Try to get a time frame.
Miss Williams, did she tell you when she used these drugs?
In the past, is what she told me.
Did she give you a more definite time frame than in the past?
At the age of 13 years old, she started using.
Okay. Did she give you a time frame as to when the last time she used heroin?
No, ma'am. She did not.
Did she give you a time frame of the last time that what was the other drug?
Marijuana.
All right. Did she give you a date of which the last time that she used marijuana?
No, ma'am, but she has admitted to me that she have used within 30 days.
Okay. Look.
Named after no, ma'am.
Okay. So when did she tell you when the last time that she used marijuana was, or the time frame?
Not the specific time frame. No, ma'am.
Okay. Did she tell you whether or not she'd used marijuana in the last 30 days?
She did state that. Yes, ma'am.
She did state what?
She stated that she's used marijuana within the last 30 days. Yes,
okay.
Ma'am.
All right. Did you ask if she was taking care of her children during the time that she was using the marijuana?
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Overruled. You may
No.
answer.
You can answer, Celeste.
Okay. No, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask her about her mental health issues, or if she had any?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And what did she tell you?
She told me that she does have a previous history of mental health issues. She stated to me that she was diagnosed with bipolar PTSD, and manic depressive disorder. She stated to me that she has not sought treatment since she was diagnosed.
Okay. And do you know, did she tell you when she had been diagnosed?
When she was, I don't want to put a specific time frame because she told me that it was when she was a teenager.
All right.
Yes.
How old is she now?
Miss Kersey is.
Your Honor, I'm going to object from the witness testifying as to something that's not in evidence. It appears she's reading notes.
I'm reading my affidavit.
Okay. Do you need to refresh your memory, Ms. Williams?
No, sir.
Okay. Next question.
All right. Do you know how old she is?
34.
All right. What other things did you ask Miss Kersey about in this first initial interview?
I went over the report with her. I asked her, did an altercation take place between her and the paternal grandmother?
And what was her response?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Did she explain to you about the altercation?
She just stated that Miss Tina wants her children, is what she stated to me, and she'll do anything that she has to do to get at her, is what she told me.
But did she explain to you about the physical altercation?
No, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask her any more details about the physical altercation?
No, ma'am.
What else did you discuss?
What else I discussed was I went over more of the allegations, what was stated. I asked her, do she travel down the Cleveland highway with the children in a wagon, down a busy highway?
And what was her response?
Her response was no, she does not.
Okay. Did you ask her if she had a wagon?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what was her response?
Yes, she does have a wagon. Yes, ma'am.
What else did you discuss?
I asked her if she had any intentions on having a stable place to live.
And what was her response?
Yes, she does have intentions, but at the moment she was currently residing with her friend.
Okay. Did she express that both her and Mr. Ware were staying with her friend? Or
yes, ma'am.
That's what she said?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What else did you discuss other than those things?
I asked her, did she know about the incident that occurred in December of 2023, where the sibling fell and knocked out several teeth?
Objection, Your Honor, assumes facts, not in evidence, and a cause for hearsay.
Sustained.
Did she say anything? Did you ask her if there had been any medical issues that had happened to her child within the last few months? About any specific thing, any medical specific issues that had happened to her child in the last few months?
Yes, ma'am. I asked her, did the children have any medical
Objection, non-responsive after yes, ma'am.
Sustained.
Okay. What you said, yes. What did you say? What did you ask her?
Has there been any medical issues that has occurred to the children within the last couple of months?
And what did she say?
No.
All right. Did you discuss the children's teeth at any time?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What did she say about the children's teeth?
That didn't happen.
Okay. So she said that there was nothing wrong with the children's teeth.
Correct.
All right. What else did you discuss?
I also discussed that if she was going to continue living at her friend's home, we would need to put a safety plan in place, and we would need to establish a safety monitor.
And what was her response to that?
Okay, she agreed.
Okay. And had you asked the friend? Was the friend sitting right there during this conversation?
The friend, what? Yes, ma'am, because the friend was calming her down. Yes, ma'am.
So she seemed to be did she seem to be a positive
Yes.
effect on
Yes.
the situation?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did y'all talk about anything else at that meeting?
No, I asked her, okay, if, I ran a history.
Objection, non-responsive after no.
Sustained.
What was the next thing you spoke about at that meeting?
If they had a place for the children to sleep.
Okay. And what was her response?
Yes.
Okay. What did you ask her next?
If I could tour her home, make sure there was adequate food in the home, make sure there was running water, electricity, and a place for the children to sleep.
All right. And what was the response?
Yes, she agreed. They allowed me to take photos of the home. Everything looked good. Everything was safe at the home for the children to stay. We signed the safety plan for the next 30 days.
Okay. By the time you signed that safety plan, had you been able to also talk to Mr. Ware?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I did talk to Mr.
So
Ware.
before that happened, you spoke to Mr. Ware.
That's correct.
All right. So after you're done talking to Miss Kersey, what did you do next?
Then I asked to speak with Mr. Ware.
All right. So when you spoke to him, was Miss Kersey there?
Yes.
Was Mr. Ware there when Miss Kersey was talking?
No, Mr. Ware was in and out. He was in and out of the home.
All right. So what was Mr. Ware's demeanor when you started talking to him?
His demeanor was all over the place. He was
What
all
does
over
that
the place.
mean?
So that means that he needed guidance when I spoke with him. He really didn't feel that the investigation, the reasoning as to why I was there was necessary. But
Okay.
he wasn't opposed to speaking with me.
Okay, so he was polite.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was the first questions that you asked him?
I asked him pretty much the same questions I asked Miss Kersey. I got a little bit of background from him, such as where was he born and raised, any history, previous criminal history. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about those types of things. Did he respond? Did he respond with any criminal history?
No, yes, ma'am, he did. He told me that the only criminal history he had was burglary.
All right. Do you know did he tell you when that occurred?
No, ma'am.
Did you ask?
Yes, ma'am. And I believe he told me he didn't want to talk about that.
All right. Did you ask him about his drug usage? Or not, did you ask him if he used drugs?
Yes, I did.
And what was his response?
He's never used drugs.
Okay. What else did you ask him about?
Of course, I informed him of his rights, and then I asked him about the allegations in the report. I asked him the same medical question about the children, and he stated to me that, nothing has happened, and the sibling did not have his teeth knocked out, is what he told me.
Did you discuss if he had any mental health history?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was his response?
No, he does not.
Were there any other things that you discussed with him?
Yes. I asked him, has he ever had a history of using alcohol? And he told me, no, he has not.
Do you know how old Mr. Ware is?
I'm unsure. I don't want to give that specific age.
Is he approximately the same age as Miss Kersey?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask Mr. Ware if he has any other children other than these two kids?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was his response?
These are the only two children that he has.
In regards to Miss Kersey, did you ask her the same question earlier in the interview?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And what was her response?
That she has two other children that lives with her biological mother.
All right. With Miss Kersey's biological mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know her name?
Eva Brooks.
Did you ask Mr. Ware any more questions?
No, ma'am. It was a very short interview with Mr. Ware.
Did you have to run some type of background on
Yes,
Miss Amber?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And Did that come back clean?
Yes, it was clean. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Your Honor,
Before I left the home.
Sustained.
I didn't hear the objection. Just
Uh, hearsay to any background.
okay.
False.
So did everyone sign the safety plan?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the safety plan entail?
That Amber would continue to monitor and all interactions between Jennifer, Kersey, and the children.
All right. What happened? And so after that was signed, what did you do?
After that, Miss Kersey stated to me that she could
Objection non-responsive. The question was, what did Miss Celeste do?
Was that the question, Ms. Adams?
It was, Your Honor. I'll retract my question. Miss Williams, what happened next?
I took photos of the children. I examined the children and took photos of the children.
And what condition were the children in?
They were dressed appropriately and clean. They were happy. They were happy. And they were playing with the other children in the home.
Okay. How many other children in the home were there?
4.
So after that, what happened?
After that, Miss Kersey insisted at that time, because Miss Amber was a little bit afraid, that she didn't want her children involved with Jennifer's CPS case at all. So she was kind of afraid with signing a safety plan. So Jennifer asked me if her mother, Miss Eva Brooks, would qualify for the children to stay at her residence if Miss Amber is not up to it.
Okay. And did this all still happen on March 22nd?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And did you respond to, how did you respond to her?
So I told her that, of course, I would have to go out and interview Miss Eva Brooks. I would have to see Miss Eva Brooks' home to make sure there's adequate space and proper sleeping arrangements for the children, is what I told her.
All right. So what happened next?
Next, we drove down to Miss Eva Brooks' home because she lives right down the road. The family all stays on the same street. So we went to Miss Eva Brooks' home.
And then what happened after that?
Then after that, I interviewed Miss Eva Brooks at her residence.
Don't tell me anything that Miss Brooks said. All right. Just want to be real clear about that. But after the interview, what happened?
After that, I asked her if I could be invited into her home so I could assess her home to see if it was proper sleeping arrangements for the children.
All right. So, and what did you determine?
So what I determined, I was able to take photos. I was able to staff the case with my supervisor, and our decision was the home did not meet criteria for the children to stay there because it was too many safety issues on the outside of the home and the inside of the home.
Okay. So what happened next?
After that, Amber agreed to continue with our safety plan, and we went back to her home.
Okay. And then what happened then?
And then after that, I wrapped up everything. I gave a card to the parents for them to contact me. I also asked them, because I forgot to tell you in the beginning of the interview, that I asked them to drug test, and both parties to drug test, and their responses was they didn't feel it was necessary to drug test in this case. All
right. And did that conclude everything that happened on March 22nd?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So when was the next contact that you had with the family?
The next contact I had with the family was April 1st.
Okay. Did you have any contact regarding the family prior to that?
Yes, ma'am. I have. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And don't tell me what people said, but who did you speak to prior to April 1st?
Prior to that, I've spoken back and forth to Eva Brooks and back and forth to the paternal grandparent, Tina Domer.
All right. But the next time that you spoke to Jennifer was when?
April 1st.
All right. So tell me about that conversation.
I did an unannounced visit at the home at Miss Eva Brooks.
Wait, just back up for a second. Which home did you have the unannounced visit at?
So I had the unannounced visit at Miss Eva Brooks' home. because later that afternoon, well, on that
Objection, non-responsive after Ava Brooks is home.
Sustained.
Okay. So why did you go to Ava Brooks's home on April 1st?
because I needed to make contact with Jennifer. I had been let know that Jennifer had left the home.
Objection, non-responsive after I needed to make contact with Jennifer.
Overruled.
So who did you find at the home on April 1st?
Miss Eva. Miss Eva
right.
Brooks. Yes, ma'am.
Where did you find did you find the mother, the father, or either of the children there?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All right. So, but you at some point you talked to Jennifer that day?
No, I did not. I had spoke with Miss Eva Brooks. She
All right.
contacted me that day. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you spoke to Eva.
Mhm.
You went to her house.
Mhm.
What else did you do that day?
I went to her house and Eva had told me that the
We
Objection
can't talk.
to hearsay.
okay.
I understand, Your Honor, that we're not going to talk about what other people said. So you
Okay.
went to Eva's house and you spoke to Eva. Other than going to Eva's house and talking to Eva, what else did you do?
I went to Quickway truck stop. After that,
What is that?
Quickway truck stop is a gas station that the family is known to be at.
Okay. So did you find anyone there?
Yes, ma'am.
Who did you find?
Jennifer Kersey, Austin Ware, and the 2 children in a green wagon.
Okay. Explain what the green wagon, what does it look like?
So it's a green car-like type of wagon and with a black pulley on it.
So how big are we talking?
It's about the size of a regular wagon, like a regular red wagon.
Okay. Like a radio flyer red wagon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does it have, is it flat like a radio flyer red wagon?
No, ma'am. It's in a shape of a car.
All right. And so what was the black part?
The black part is the pulley part. That's what they pull the kids. So it's connected to the wagon.
Okay. So where exactly at the truck stop did you find them? I mean, yes, where exactly at the truck stop did you find them?
They were in the store. They were I guess they were talking to some associates in the store.
All right. Tell me about what is around this truck stop. In regards to buildings or houses or
Love's truck
roads.
stop. Love's truck stop is right next door.
Okay. What else?
It is a couple houses and businesses right across the street.
All right. How big is the street that this truck stop is
2-lane
on?
highway. It's a 2-lane highway.
All right. So how did they react when they saw you?
Upset.
Who did you speak to first?
Both of them. I asked them if I could speak with them outside of the store.
Okay. And did they go with you outside of the store?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they take the wagon and the kids with them as well?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the children's appearance at that time?
They appeared to be unkept. So they had on clothes, but the clothes were very dirty.
Okay.
They were dirty physically. They did have on, Sterling did not have on any shoes.
Objection as to narrative, Your Honor. And then can we also refer to the children by their initials, not their names?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Either initials or the little boy, little girl, if that's okay, Your Honor, just for it's a little easier.
That will work as well.
Okay. Or younger, older, whichever works best for you, Celeste.
Okay.
So let's talk about the 2-year-old little boy, I believe.
Yes, ma'am.
How was he dressed?
He was, like I told you before, unkept. He was dirty from head to toe. He was happy. However, he didn't look like he had, taken a bath, and didn't have fresh clothes on.
All right. Do you know if he was still wearing diapers or not?
Yes, ma'am, he was.
Okay. Do you know the condition of his diaper at that moment?
I don't want to guess that, but I don't. No, ma'am.
Okay. What about the 4-year-old little girl? What was she dressed in, and what was her appearance?
She had on shorts and a shirt with rain boots. And
Okay.
she appeared to be dirty as well. Yes, ma'am. In appearance.
What did you ask the parents?
I asked the parents, did an altercation take place at Miss Eva Brooks' home? And if
And
that
what-
was the result of why they left.
Okay, let's talk about if an altercation took place.
Mhm.
Which one of them responded,
Miss Jennifer.
and what did she say?
She stated that her mother and Miss Tina Domer has been working against her. And her and her mother had an altercation at the home about Austin. Over Austin.
Okay. By altercation, did she say if it was physical or verbal? What type of altercation? Or she didn't say, let me know that.
I don't think she said quite.
Or-
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You said that you also asked them if they were asked to leave the home. Who responded to that question?
Jennifer.
And what was her response?
She stated that her and Austin left to take a walk because her and her mother had an altercation.
Okay. What did you discuss next?
After that, I talked to her about, transporting the children in a wagon on such a busy highway because it's very unsafe.
And what was their response?
Her response was she knew, but she was headed to the tax office to go file her income tax. But she didn't have the children's social security cards.
Okay, so that was her response
Mhm.
that was her response to your question about it being dangerous?
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled. You may answer.
So she basically stated that that's where
Objection non-responsive.
Well, I don't know yet. Overruled at this point.
Was that her if y'all don't mind, let me ask the question again. When you inquired about her knowing it to be dangerous to have the children in a wagon on a large road, was her response that she was going to the tax office?
Yes.
Okay. Did she ever respond to the fact that it was dangerous?
No.
What else did you discuss?
I asked her if I could give her a ride back to Miss Eva's home so that they can make it back safely. And she told me yes.
Okay. And did they allow you to do that?
Yes, ma'am. I transported her and the 2 children back to Miss Eva's. I did not transport Austin.
Okay. And why is that?
Because Austin appeared to be, to me, it looked like he was under the influence.
What made you think he was under the influence?
He was stumbling.
Okay. Did
Stumbling.
he talk?
Mhm.
Did he, when you were asking all these questions, did he have any responses to you?
Yes.
Okay.
His words were very slurred, so I could barely understand what he was saying. But he did state that they had an altercation with Eva and they left.
Non-responsive.
Sustained.
Tell me the things that he told you.
He stated that's the only thing he said was that they had an altercation with Eva and they left the home.
Were you able to smell him? Did you smell anything?
No, but I was able to observe him and he was
Objection non-responsive after no.
Sustained after no.
Did Miss Kersey have any notable signs of intoxication?
No, ma'am.
When you saw them in the store, who was pushing or pulling the wagon?
Austin.
What happened after you drove Mom and the 2 kids back to Miss Brooks' home?
I had a discussion with her.
With who?
Jennifer Kersey.
Okay. What was that discussion about?
It was about trying to find her safe and stable housing.
Okay.
I provided her some resources.
Okay. What type of resources?
Housing resources. So immediate housing.
And what was her response?
She's been calling the shelters, but have not had any luck with calling.
So what did you do next?
I stayed. I stayed and helped her call around.
And what happened after that?
So after that, we called a couple shelters and there was no luck. I informed her that her mom's home had not been approved by the department for her to make this a long-term stay, and that she needed to ensure that she continued to stay on calling them throughout the day to get her and her family into something.
Okay. So what happened next?
After that, I left the home.
So what was the plan for her and the children when you left the home?
So the plan for her and the children was, and I did have a discussion prior to with Miss Eva Brooks to ask her.
Objection, non-responsive.
Overruled.
Tell me what the plan was.
The plan was to allow Miss Eva to continue to monitor Jennifer and the children, Jennifer's interactions with the children.
And so did Jennifer express to you whether she was okay staying at Eva Brooks's house at that time or not?
Yes, ma'am. She was fine at that time.
Okay.
Yes. Ma'am.
So when is the next interaction that you had with his family?
Shortly after, I want to say it was April 10th. April 10th.
Okay. What happened on April 10th?
So on April 10th, I was contacted by Miss Eva Brooks. And
Okay, don't tell me what she said. I'm just
Okay.
trying to help.
Okay.
So after you had a conversation with Eva Brooks, what did you do?
I provided her, because at the time Miss Jennifer didn't have a phone, I provided her with the Santa Maria resource.
Okay, tell me what had been going on with you in Santa Maria.
So what I did was I offered her that resource. I told her, you know, if she could get in and do the intake online, the intake counselor would give her a call to see if to do a screening over the phone and see if she qualified for services. And that would be a place for her and her children to go.
How did you know all this about Santa Maria?
I looked it up.
Okay, so had you been working on getting this lined out for a while?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What was Jennifer's response?
That she agreed. She agreed to go to Santa Maria.
Was Austin going to be able to go too?
No, ma'am, he was not. Prior to, I had gave him homeless shelters for him to possibly go to around about the Cleveland area. However, he was not receptive of taking those resources because he did not feel that he needed any help with immediate housing.
Okay. Do you happen to know where he was living between April 1st and April 10th?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever ask him where he was living between April 1st and April 10th?
No, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask Jennifer if he was living with her between April 1st and April 10th?
To my understanding, no, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened after you gave Jennifer the plans for her and the children to go to Santa Maria?
So the intake counselor contacted her and they done the screening on her. And Jennifer had told them that she has not used meth in over 1 year. And she told them that she has not used marijuana in over 30 days.
Okay. So what happened?
Shortly after that, I got a call from the intake counselor and she
I'm
said—
going to object to whatever the intake counselor says is being hearsay.
Okay.
Sustained.
So you did, but no, don't tell me what she said, but you spoke
Okay.
to someone at Santa Maria.
Yes.
All right. So what happened after that, after the Santa Maria happened?
So she did not qualify for services there.
Okay. So what happened next?
After that, I told her to continue seeking shelter services because they had to get in safe and stable housing.
Why did she need to leave Eva Brooks' home?
Because Eva Brooks' home did not get approved through the department.
Okay. On April 10th, did you go to Eva Brooks' home to see Jennifer and the children? Or was this all over the phone?
Over the phone.
All right.
This was over the phone.
So when's the next time that you saw the kids?
After that, I came in contact with Jennifer because an altercation
Objection,
transpired.
non-responsive.
Sustained.
When is the next time that you saw the kids?
After that, it was April 23rd, I believe.
All right. And where did you see them?
I saw them at the current location of where they are currently living now.
And where is that?
And that is in Cleveland, Texas, at the 30th.
Whose home is that?
That is
Could we
Jonathan
please
Myers.
not give out specific addresses of any of placement parties? This is being live streamed.
Yes.
So who's not where is it exactly, but whose home is it?
It's a friend of Jennifer's home.
Okay. And what is her first name?
It's a man,
It's a man. Okay. So what is his first name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Mhm.
And when did the family, did Jennifer or Austin tell you when the family moved into Jonathan's home?
They didn't to inform me. They didn't tell me that they moved into this home.
Okay. When you went to Jonathan's home, who did you find there?
I found Jennifer and I found Austin.
Okay.
And the two children.
All right. Tell me the condition of the children.
The children appeared to be appropriate and clean. They were happy. They were playing. Yes.
Okay. Tell me the condition of Jennifer.
She appeared to be lucid. She was of course not happy to see me. She wasn't
Okay.
happy to see me again.
All right. Tell me the condition of Austin.
Austin appeared to be still stumbling and slurred words.
This
Mhm.
condition, you had met Austin at the very beginning of this case. Were
Mhm.
his words slurred then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so his words are always slurred when you meet him, when you meet with him?
My interactions with him, yes. Yes,
Okay.
the interactions I've had, yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell me about the conversation you had with Jennifer when you arrived at Jonathan's home on April 23rd.
I asked her because I had known that her and her mother got into an altercation and she left the home with the children.
I'm going to object, Your Honor, as to non-responsive.
Overruled. You may answer.
Tell me what she told you.
Her and her mother got into an altercation. Another altercation is what had occurred.
Okay.
And
Did she
left the
express whether it was a verbal or a physical altercation?
home. This time a chair was thrown. She stated to me that her mother threw a chair at her.
Okay. Was she injured?
No, I didn't see any physical injuries. No, ma'am.
Do you know if the children were in the home at that time?
I do not know.
All right. What else did Jennifer tell you?
That the day she left her mother's home, she came to her friend's home, and that's where they have been staying since.
Did she tell you anything else?
No, I asked her if it would be okay that I did ask her the time frames of April 10th through April 23rd, if this was the home that she was currently staying at, and she told me yes. This is the home that they had been at. And I asked her if it would be okay that I assess the home, and she informed me yes.
Okay. And what was your assessment of what did you see when you went through the home?
The exterior of the home appeared to be abandoned. The interior of the home, there was no beds in any of the rooms. Miss Jennifer had told me that there was no working refrigerator. And there was a plumbing issue with the water system at the home that Austin had been working on.
Okay. What else?
After that, I asked her, is this going to be a long-term placement, or is she still continuing to look for a safe place to go?
And what was her response?
She's going to continue staying there.
Okay. how is she taking care of the food needs of the children?
To my understanding, she receives food stamps. So the children were being taken care of in that manner.
Did you see food in the house for the kids?
She didn't allow me to go look into the refrigerator because she told me that it's not a working refrigerator.
Okay.
So I asked her, how does she get food supply? Where do they go? And I assume that they go next door to a neighbor's home.
Okay. So when you asked her, did she have a response?
Yes, I did.
What was her response?
She stated to me that she goes to her Jonathan's family member's home that also lives on the property, and they go over there for their food needs. So to heat up foods and store their foods.
What were the sleeping arrangements for all the people?
At the current home that they're staying at?
At Jonathan's home.
There was no beds in any of the rooms. So
I'm going to object, Your Honor, unless there's personal knowledge or unless the mother told her what the sleeping arrangements were.
Okay, so Ms. Williams, did you, now we're talking about Jonathan's home, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is this where the mother envisioned or told you they would be staying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So did you go in, did you observe the sleeping situation?
Yes, I did.
Or did the mother tell you? Okay, all right. Overruled. Next question.
So how many beds did you see in the home?
None.
Did you ask mom or dad where everyone slept in this home?
Yes.
Okay. Wait just a second. It's the way I asked it. I asked it wrong. What did she say about where everyone slept?
On a blow-up mattress is what she stated to me.
Okay. Who did she say slept on the blow-up mattress?
Her, Austin, and the children.
Is that safe sleep, particularly for the 2-year-old?
No, it's not.
I'm going to object. It calls for speculation and an expert opinion.
Overruled.
Is that safe sleep for a 2-year-old?
No, ma'am.
Did you express that to Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am.
What was her response?
That her neighbor is rich and she's going to help them with beds.
Did you discuss how long they had been in this house as of April 23rd?
Yes, she told me since she left the home on April 10th, they had been living at this home.
Were you able to meet Jonathan when you went there as well?
No, ma'am, he wasn't there.
Was Austin there?
Yes, Austin was there.
Did you discuss anything else when you were there at the time?
No, ma'am.
Did you discuss possible drug usage?
Yes, I did. I asked her.
What did you ask?
I asked her if they would be willing to go drug test again. I asked again.
And what was the response?
No. Jennifer stated no.
Okay. And did Austin respond at all to that question?
He did. Yes, ma'am.
And what was his response?
His response was yes at first. And then he stated to me that he don't feel like it's necessary for him to go drug test.
What are your concerns about the children living with their parents at this home?
So my concerns is possible drug usage, untreated mental health issues, not having safe and stable housing for the children to continue living at, and they're not willing to go drug test.
Okay. Do either of these parents have any CPS history?
Yes. Yes.
Which parent has CPS history?
They both do.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry.
Go ahead and correct yourself.
Only Jennifer.
All right. Did you ask her about her previous CPS history?
Yes, I did.
And at which of these meetings did you ask her about it?
At the very beginning, the very first.
And What was her response?
Her response was she's had multiple occurrences with Child Protective Services and she knows how we operate.
Okay. Did you ask her about any details of what has happened in the past with CPS?
Yes, ma'am. And she stated to me it was the same thing, neglectful supervision.
So her two older children are currently living with Eva Brooks. Is that
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask her specifically about the situation that caused that to happen?
She did not talk much about that situation. She just stated that they've
I'm
been
going to
with their
object this to
mother.
non-responsive.
Sustained.
Did you ever get to meet those two children
Yes.
at Eva Brooks's house?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Did you ask Miss Kersey about her relationship with those children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what did she say?
It's good. She's able to go over to the home to see them.
What are you asking the court for today?
That we be named as temporary managing conservators
And why is that?
due to the department's concerns.
Do you feel that these children are in danger if they're returned to their parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you wanting to work with these parents and give them services?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what the original goal would be in this case if the department is given temporary managing conservatorship of the kids?
Reunification?
Is that what your belief that the goal would be?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tanner.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Ms. Williams, you said that the way the children would have slept in the prior house, I think you said his name was Jeremy, is that right? Was
Jonathan.
not safe sleep. Jonathan was not safe sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you define safe sleep for the court?
Yes. Safe sleep he would have his own bed. He would not have any choking hazards in the bed, no blankets, no toys, just the bed. That's what safe sleep is.
Okay. Has the department ever removed children for failure to comply with safe sleep, if you know? Have you been involved in a removal?
No, ma'am, not to my knowledge.
Okay. Now, Ms. Williams, you said that you're willing to work with these parents. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if the judge ordered, not that the department take TMC, but that the parents work services and the children remain in the place where they are, do you think that would be an appropriate resolution? If the parents were ordered to comply with services and leave the children with the paternal grandmother?
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for a legal conclusion by this
Your
witness.
Honor, I don't believe that it does. If she can state what the goal would be and she can state whether or not she believes that TMC is appropriate. Thank you. You can answer, ma'am.
Okay. I would say no.
Okay. And what is the difference between a case where you don't have TMC and they engage in services and the children are kept with the paternal grandmother and a case where you have TMC? What's the difference?
Well, I think that with TMC, they're able to work with conservatorship and they're able to actually work their services and meet their goals.
Okay. So they wouldn't be able to work services with you?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
So you can also facilitate services. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, did you tell Miss Kersey when she was attempting to get into Santa Maria that she would have to tell them that she had used drugs within 30 days to be eligible?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you did not tell her that that was a part of their criteria?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did she tell you that she had used marijuana within the last 30 days?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, as far as the shelters that you were attempting to help Miss Kersey with, how many shelters did you give her as options?
5, I want to say. I gave her 5 shelters.
Okay. And you helped her call around to those 5 shelters, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not able to gain her or Mr. Ware admittance into those shelters, is that right?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so after that initial time when you were helping Miss Kersey, did you help her again to try and apply for those shelters, or is that only one-time thing?
No, it's been a consistent thing.
So you've consistently called around to shelters for her?
Yes. And
Okay.
each time I've called them, I've also notified her and tried to call them with her on the phone as well.
Okay. Were there any availability? Was
No,
there any
ma'am.
availability? No?
No, ma'am.
When's the last time you guys called the shelter?
April 10th, I want to say, was the last
Okay.
time, because
And there
I
was
haven't
no-
had any contact.
Okay, and that's fine. And there was no availability April 10th, was there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Would you agree with me that it's kind of hard to get into a shelter?
Yes, it is, but the census changes every day.
Objection,
so-
non-responsive after yes, it is.
Okay.
Just answer only what I'm asking, that's all.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll follow up if we need any more info, or the other attorneys can too.
Okay.
Now, after court, the last time we were in court, do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you remember the judge ordering the department to issue 2054s and the appearance to go drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you made aware, and did the parents tell you that they walked to the drug testing facility?
No, ma'am. I was not made aware.
Okay. Did the parents tell you they walked to the drug testing facility?
Not at that time. No, ma'am.
Okay, when did they tell you that they did?
Not until I made contact with Austin on Monday. And I
So
can't.
this Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we were just in court not too long ago, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So did you in fact send a 2054 for drug testing for them?
Yes, ma'am, that day, while we were
Okay.
still on the hearing. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it your understanding that that 2054, even though it may have been sent, that the drug testing facility did not act upon it, or they said they were not able to?
No, ma'am. I was not notified.
Okay. So did you contact the drug testing facility?
No, ma'am. Once I sent the drug, because I had their email address that I've already
Uh-huh.
had on file. So I sent it directly to that specific email address that we had on file.
Okay. And they were supposed to drug test where?
Porter in Cleveland. Porter Drug and Alcohol testing.
Okay, so it's not Porter, Texas. It's called Porter Drug and Alcohol.
Drug and alcohol. Yes, ma'am.
But where is it in Cleveland?
681. I don't really know the address specific, but
Is
it's
it
in
like-
Cleveland.
Like middle of Cleveland, down, or as much of downtown as Cleveland gets?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you aware of where Mr. Ware and Miss Kersey are currently living?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And if you know, approximately how far of a distance is that from where they live to the drug testing facility?
I can't recollect.
Okay. Were you ever made aware at any point after that date of testing that they were unable to drug test at that facility?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So as you sit here today, as far as you know, they were able to drug test.
Yes. At the beginning, yes, ma'am.
What do you mean at the beginning?
So that very day we had court, when judge ordered, they had 30 minutes to go, I went ahead and sent the 2054 forms. So between that time and when they showed up to drug testing, I was not notified that the collection site did not have the 2054 referral.
Okay. But I'm asking, as of today,
Mhm.
you know that the drug testing facility did not have
Yes.
that 2054.
Yes, ma'am.
right?
I do know, right?
Okay. So although they showed up to the drug testing facility, they could not test. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you had stated, strike that. Now, you have had dealings with Mr. Ware, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware that, or has he told you that he has a serious physical issue?
Yes.
He has a medical issue, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Okay. And you've talked about his slurred speech and his stumbling, is that correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if that's attributable to his medical condition?
I'm
Or
not
do you-
sure.
Okay. So you don't know whether that's how he is all the time or if he's ever actually under the influence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Because you don't have any other dealings with Mr. Ware other than the limited amount of interaction you've had with him as part of this case. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you said that Miss Kersey's mother, her home was inappropriate for the children. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, I believe you said it was a danger.
Yes.
Okay. What were the hazards that were in that home?
So starting outside of the home, there was mounds and piles of trash that the kids could be accessible to. It wasn't a little bit of trash that they could clean. It was a huge amount of trash that was out there, on top of cleaning supplies, other hazards. Looked like they may have been working on items. And then inside of the home, there was not appropriate sleeping arrangements, as she stayed in a 1-bedroom portable building is what she lived in.
Okay. And so, but Miss Kersey's mother has custody of 2 other children. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. And they're 2 older children. So it's not such
Okay. So objection non-responsive.
Mhm.
Sustained.
So if you thought that there were hazards in that home, then why did you make a report to CPS on your own about the living conditions of the 2 other children?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think that it's appropriate for them to live in a home where there's more than just a little bit of trash, that there's a significant amount in inappropriate sleeping conditions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So that was a concern to you. Is that right?
It was it's not as much of a concern because they're older children and they're
Okay.
not more prone to get into things.
Okay. So, but it's concerning nonetheless that they're living in essentially like a hoarder type situation. Do you find it concerning?
For smaller children. Yes, ma'am.
So older children, they can live amongst huge mounds of trash and that's okay?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you would agree with me that that living condition is a concern for any child?
Well, I don't agree because I don't agree with that. No, ma'am.
Okay. So you were okay with the smaller children staying there for a limited amount of time. Is that right?
I was okay with it as long as she was looking at
Okay.
finding.
So you were okay with it. What was the maximum amount of time you would have allowed those children to stay in those hazardous conditions?
A short period of time. Until
Okay.
she
What's
could
the
find-
maximum amount of time? If you could quantify that for the court, please.
We did not put a specific time limit on it.
So it could be indefinite. It could be a few days. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
it was only supposed to be a few days.
Okay. So, but there was no maximum time limit set on that, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so would you agree with me that if that home was so hazardous to the smaller children, that CPS would have never agreed to them staying there, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you said that Miss Kersey had told you that the second quote unquote altercation with her mother, that her mother threw a chair at her. Is that right?
Yeah, she did tell me that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you find that concerning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask if that chair throwing incident happened in front of the children? And not just the children in this suit, but any of the children?
I didn't ask, but I assumed that it did because the house is very small.
Objection calls for speculation, which she assumes.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you think that that would have been an important question to ask as to whether
Yes,
the
ma'am.
children had been okay? But to be fair, hindsight's 2020. You probably were doing quite a bit at that point, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So were there okay, so can you tell me the 5 shelters that you had recommended to Miss Kersey?
Yes. So I gave her Family Promise, Star of Hope, the Life Center, and then I gave her Santa Maria, and then I also gave her my supervisor gave her Universal Agape of Love.
Okay, but you would agree with me that Santa Maria is not necessarily a shelter per se. It's a rehab, but it does have a shelter component.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and they won't take you unless you qualify for the rehab part. Is that right?
That's correct.
So in essence, it's 4 shelters and 1 kind of hybrid shelter/rehab.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so in 3 of those are with the exception of Star of Hope, the other 3, are they in Liberty County?
Yes, one of them is in Conroe, Texas.
Okay.
Family Promise is in Conroe.
Okay, but Star of Hope is in itself in Houston, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you give out those resources to the majority or all of your clients if they need help being housed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you would agree with me, they're probably getting a pretty big influx of applicants with limited space.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you direct Miss Kersey to the HUD office or, the housing development?
I talked to her about it, about getting her over to there. But I was more so looking for something immediate that she could get
Okay.
in.
Okay. Do you know if she ever got those resources for the Section 8 housing?
No, ma'am.
If you know. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so you said that with the exception of the time where you saw the children at the convenience store and they were dirty,
Mhm.
at all other times you saw them, they were clean and well fed?
They appear to be. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did they appear to have any broken bones or injuries, bruising?
I'd never seen any, bruises or injuries on the child.
Okay. Did they appear to be malnourished?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So they appear to be well fed and clean for the most of the times that you saw them.
Yes.
Okay. So have you been to where Mr. Ware and Miss Kersey are currently living?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you looked inside that house?
Yes. They
Okay.
agreed to allow me in.
Okay. And when did that happen?
That happened on the same day, April 23rd.
Okay, April 23rd.
Yes, ma'am.
And okay. And so if you're aware, do you know if Miss Kersey's working?
Not to my knowledge. I know that she has not told me herself. However, Austin has on Monday when I spoke with him.
Okay. And you spoke with Austin on Monday in regards to a drug test. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And did Mr. Ware, in fact, go and take a drug test?
He did on Tuesday. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did either Mr. Ware or Miss Kersey tell you if she had gone and taken one?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you don't know if she did or she didn't. Is that what you're saying?
Hold on. I do. So actually, he told me the day he went up there that Jennifer wasn't going to be able to go because she was working, is what he said.
Okay. 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 And so has there been a visit set up yet with the children?
I set up visit on Monday for Wednesday with the parents.
Okay. So
Mhm.
hold, just so that we can clarify.
Okay.
So you scheduled it on Monday, but it was for Wednesday.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And where was it scheduled?
Liberty office.
Okay. Do you remember in court when we spoke about the parents' lack of transportation?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember the judge urging the department to try and put the visitation as close to the parents as possible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I understand you couldn't do it in the Cleveland office because there's no visitation room. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. What is the next closest office to where they are living in Cleveland?
The two that I told to the judge was either that I was going to set up at was Liberty or Crosby, and Crosby was further away from them. So
Okay.
Liberty was the closest to them.
Okay. Did you contact the parents to see if maybe they had transportation to one or the other before setting up the visit?
Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am. On Monday. So I told them to let me know by Tuesday at 5 p.m. if they was going to have transportation for the visit on Wednesday at 11.
Okay. To be fair, though, Miss Williams, we did have one heck of a storm blow through, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would it be fair to say they may not have had the ability to communicate with you on Tuesday? I mean, are you
Objection,
aware?
speculation.
Sustained.
Okay. What office are you at, Miss Williams? Are you in Cleveland?
Crosby.
Okay. During that line of storms, did you guys lose power? Did you have any issues with your phone lines, anything like that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you reach out to the parents on Tuesday to ask them if they were having issues with communication?
No, ma'am, but I did reach out numerous times to the family. I spoke to them a lot on
To whom? To whom, ma'am?
To Austin Ware, because he had
Okay.
Jennifer's phone.
So you spoke, okay. So I'm thinking you maybe misunderstood my question. So you spoke with Mr. Ware on Tuesday, is that right?
Via phone call, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did he let you know whether or not they could make the visitation on Wednesday?
Yes, by 5 p.m.
And what did he say?
He told me that they were not going to be able to make it for Wednesday to the visit.
Okay. Okay. So he complied with your request
Yes,
so
ma'am.
that you didn't set up an unnecessary visit.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there another visit scheduled?
No, ma'am. I have not set up another visit because he told me that he's not sure if he's going to be able to make any visit in Liberty at this time.
Okay. And what did he tell you that for? Why did he tell you that? Did he give you a reason?
No, ma'am. That's all he told me.
Okay. So he just said he wasn't going to be able to make a visit. He didn't reference any.
No,
Okay.
he just stated that Liberty is too far from him, from where he's located, because he would have to walk, or that they
Okay.
would have to find someone to bring them.
So to be fair, he made it clear there were transportation and issues getting to Liberty. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you would agree with me that makes it difficult to comply with any visitation schedule at this point, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I know that in the last hearing, Mr. Pouncil and I had asked for CPS to transport the parents. Do you remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the department's reasoning for not wanting to agree with that?
There's safety issues with transporting both parents at this time.
Okay. What are those safety issues?
Mom is known to have violent, aggressive behaviors in the past, in previous history.
Okay. So has mom ever been violent or aggressive with you?
She has been very verbally aggressive. Yes, ma'am.
So she's been upset by having CPS involved in her life. Is that right?
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Has she threatened to harm you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Has she attempted to physically harm you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you've actually felt comfortable enough to give mom and the children a ride back to her mother's house? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I have.
Okay. So you didn't feel at that point that she was physically aggressive?
At that point, she was not.
Okay. But you would agree with me, at no point has she ever been physically aggressive with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that she's been unhappy that you guys are involved, but she hasn't physically threatened you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are a lot of parents that you encounter, are they happy to see you?
It depends. Not every parent I get is unhappy, but it just depends.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Ms. Adams, I didn't hear you.
I think we're getting a little bit of an echo. Okay. I think the end of your answer was not every parent is necessarily unhappy. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Just making sure, because I heard a little bit of an echo. I didn't know if you were adding on to your answer.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so do you think that these parents, once they get stable housing and some services, that they could be good parents to their children?
Objection calls for speculation.
I mean, Your Honor, they're asking for services on the basis they don't think that they're appropriate parents.
You may answer if you can answer without speculating.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pouncil.
All right. Thank you, Judge. All right. I'll try to cover some new areas if I can. But in terms of Mr. Ware, you mentioned him slurring and stumbling. You recall that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever talk to him about if he, asked him if he had any medical condition or anything that would cause him to do that?
Yes.
Okay. And what was his response?
His response was he's known he's had muscular dystrophy, but he's never been medically diagnosed by a doctor.
Okay. So he did give you a reason for that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
But earlier you stated that, so despite that, you stated to the court earlier, you believe it's because he was under the influence. Is that right?
That's what it, to me. Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you, so in terms of that, you spoke to his mom, correct?
Yes.
Austin's mom. Did you talk to her? Did you talk to his mom about his medical condition as well?
Yes, and she gave me the same response.
Objection calls for hearsay. Anything that Ms. Ware said.
Sustained.
Okay. And
yes.
Thank you, Judge. And so you didn't follow up to verify whether or not he actually had this muscular disability, correct?
Other than what they've told me, no.
Okay. But you would want to know that because you don't want to go around saying that he's using drugs or he's appearing to be on drugs, but in fact, he has a disability, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you said earlier, you stated that he's always been that way every time you talk to him, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When was the last time you talked to Mr. Ware?
This past Monday.
Mm-hmm. And at that time, he was slurring as well, correct, in the speech?
Sorry about that. It was this past Tuesday, not Monday, Tuesday.
No worries, but he was still slurring in his speech, correct?
Correct, over the phone. Yes, sir.
Okay. And if he testifies to his court and he slurs a little bit in his hearing, you wouldn't be surprised, would you?
No.
Okay. And you mentioned that I heard you talk about the appearances of the children, and they were clean some occasions, and I think one occasion they were dirty. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
And so I believe April 23rd, you said they were appropriate, they were clean, they were happy. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And yeah. And where was that location at again?
It was at the residence. That's at Jonathan's residence.
All right. And is that the day of the removal or no?
No.
Okay. All right. And what made you think they were clean? Can you describe what made you say they were clean?
The children?
Yes.
I physically seen them. I asked if I could lay eyes on the children. She brought them, to me. And so I was able to see that they had clean clothes on. And they were happy.
Okay. And did you check the diapers or anything like that at that time, if you recall?
No, I did not check the diapers.
All right. Did they smell or anything like that?
No, they didn't smell.
Okay. All right. And then there was another time that they were, I think when you first met them, they were clean as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Yes. Yes, sir.
And what day was the removal? Do you recall?
I removed the children on May 7th.
Okay. And on that day, they were clean as well, correct?
No, they was not clean that day.
Okay. And then on April 1st, you said they were at the gas station and they were dirty. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the gas station situation. Did you, when you noticed that you believe they were dirty, did you talk to the family and see where they have come from, if they've been playing or anything like that?
Yes, sir.
So you asked them, what did you ask them then in terms of the children being dirty?
I asked them where they had came from, and she stated to me that they had walked a very long walk from Eva's home to the gas station, and that's a pretty far distance.
Okay. And did you ask them if the children have they been playing in dirt or playing at a park or anything like that?
No.
Okay. And this highway, I guess this gas station, you were concerned about them being at this gas station in a wagon, the children?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did it concern you enough to take photographs?
Yes, I have the photographs.
So you have photographs of them at the gas station with the children?
Yes, in the wagon.
And do you have photographs of the highway and how far it is as relative to the gas station and everything?
No.
Okay.
I don't think I have the photo of the gas station.
Okay, but the highway was a concern for you? Is that what you said?
It's a very busy highway. Yes.
But you didn't take any photos regarding that. Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
When they were at the gas station, I believe you said they were talking to someone who worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But they weren't committing a crime or anything like that with the children,
No,
right?
Sir. No, sir.
Were there other people at the gas station?
Yes, sir. Other people I didn't know. Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
Did law enforcement have to be called out to the gas station to have them removed or anything like that?
No, sir.
Did you call law enforcement because they're at the gas station near a highway
No,
in a wagon?
No, sir.
You didn't feel the need to call law enforcement, correct?
No, sir.
And they were at the gas station doing normal people things, interacting with the people in the gas station, things that normal people do in the community, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They wasn't hitting the children, beating on the children, or anything like that, correct?
No, sir.
And let's just go to, so you gave her a ride back to the home in which she left. I guess it was Miss Brooks' home. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she didn't say to you, "No, I don't want to go." You didn't have to take her kicking and screaming, correct?
No, sir.
She
voluntarily went.
And she was willing to use your help, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Just like she's willing to receive services in this case, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, you said May 7th, the removal, you said the kids were dirty. Can you explain, May 7th, what took place?
What took place?
Yeah, as far as the removal.
So I contacted Liberty County Law Enforcement because the judge signed an order on April 30th. So I was able to, I couldn't locate them for quite some time. I didn't know where they were because Jennifer kept stating that her and the children were out of town. So I made it to the home with law enforcement, 2 officers with me. And Austin came out of the bushes and I greeted Austin and I asked him if he knew where Miss Jennifer and the children were. And he stated to me that they're not at the home. However, the officers heard the children playing and screaming in the home. So we knew that the children were there.
Okay. And then when the children came out, they came out of the home?
Miss Jennifer came and opened up the door and asked what was going on. And I explained to her what was going on at this time.
Okay. And did the children appear to be afraid at that time?
No, sir. They wasn't afraid.
Okay. Now, were you able to check the child's diaper at that time?
Both children did have diapers on and they were both full, but I was not able to check them. I didn't check them. She changed them before I took them with me.
Okay. So as far as based on your personal knowledge, they were already changed. when you got there?
So when I got there, their diapers were full because they only had a t-shirt on and diapers running through the house. So they were full. She changed their diapers and got them some pants on and shoes on, and that's when we left.
Okay, the mom did.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you didn't. Okay, so just to be clear, she changed them, and that's what you expect her to do. If you have a full diaper, she changed them and then she gave them to you, correct?
Yes.
She didn't give them to. She didn't give the children to you with a full diaper, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, now in terms of this, the sleeping arrangements, the blow up mattress. Were you able to see the blow up mattress that they slept with the children on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your concern is that you believe that the 2-year-old, it wasn't a good situation for the 2-year-old?
Yes, sir.
Did the department at that time, did you offer any resources where they can get beds or anything like that at the time?
Not at that specific time because she told me she had someone that was going to get them beds.
Okay.
Which was the neighbor.
And just did the children, to your knowledge, suffer any injury or bruises or anything as a result of sleeping in the mattress?
No, sir. I didn't see any bruises on the children.
Did the children suffer any injury, bruises, or any physical harm as a result of living in that home, as far as you know?
I can't really answer that.
Well, you did check the children at some time during when they lived in the home, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And I believe your testimony is that there was no physical harm to the child that you can see, correct?
Correct.
Okay. In fact, the children they had an appointment with a medical provider since they've been in the department's care. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as a result of that, have there been any concerns regarding their physical health and safety as far as that medical that particular medical visit?
According to, yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. All right. And when are the children supposed to go to their next medical visit?
The caregiver is setting the children up a 30-day visit with their primary care provider soon. She has not been able to do that at this time.
Okay. All right. The children ever have to go to an emergency room during your case?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, the safety plan that was put in place, just to be clear, the parents didn't have any attorneys involved at that time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And as far as these services, do you know what particular services the department is requesting that they do?
Drug testing is one. They would need to find safe and stable housing is another. A mental health assessment would be another.
Okay. So mental health, safe and stable, and drug testing. This is pretty much what I'm hearing from you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And then your goal would be family reunification for your primary goal, as far as you know at this time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And you talked about the family trying to get into a shelter. I'm going to ask you about just Mr. Austin. Where
okay.
Has he? When you worked with him to try to get him into a shelter as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And he wasn't resistant to that, right?
He was. He did not see a need to receive those services.
But he did work with you to try to get those services, right?
Yeah, I still issued the services, but I don't know if he followed through because he told me that there's not a need.
Okay. All right. All right. And were you not on the phone with him trying to help him find a shelter or anything like that?
With him, no, because at the time he didn't have a phone and he didn't live at Miss Eva Brooks either.
Okay. All right, Your Honor, I'll pass witness.
All right, thank you, Ms.
I'm
Trousdale.
gonna try to go through this in order.
Okay.
Bear with me. You've testified to quite a bit. I want to go back to the very beginning of this of your investigation.
Okay.
When did you first become involved with Jennifer and Austin?
March 19th, 2023.
Okay.
2024, sorry.
And at that time, what was your primary concern?
To investigate and to make contact with the family.
Okay. What were you concerned about? Why were you wanting to make contact with them?
The allegations of physical neglect and neglectful supervision.
Okay. And at the time the intake was that March 19th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And when's your first contact with Jennifer or Austin? Was that the 22nd that you mentioned?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, when you contacted them on the 22nd, did you come face to face with them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at that time, did you provide them with contact information for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And is the contact information you provided them on March 22nd, is that still your contact information?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And on March 22nd, is that when at least Jennifer was residing with Amber, and I'm sorry, her last name, Jamillo?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Was it your understanding she was a friend of Jennifer's?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you come into contact with Amber? Did you have an opportunity to talk to Amber?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Okay. Not asking anything Amber said, but it was your understanding that Jennifer and the children were staying with Amber?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask Amber to supervise Jennifer or anything?
Yes, ma'am. To be the monitor. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And did you ask Amber and or Jennifer to sign any type of agreement reflecting your expectations? So
yes,
asking for her to be the monitor. Okay. And you were able to obtain those signatures?
Yes, ma'am. Everyone agreed.
So that's your okay. So that's your knowledge. Both Amber and Jennifer, by signing that agreement, they understood what you were asking.
Correct.
Okay. Now, at the time you said you spoke to Jennifer and she had told you she had, I think your testimony earlier was that she admitted to some earlier mental health diagnosis. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did she tell you what those diagnoses were?
She said bipolar. She stated manic depressive disorder is what she stated. And anxiety.
Did she state she had PTSD?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Did she tell you when she was diagnosed with these?
Years ago is what she said. So as a teenager. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But she acknowledged she wasn't taking any medication for those diagnoses
Correct.
at this time.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
You said you spoke to her about past drug use and she admitted to using marijuana in the last 30 days as of March 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, sorry.
Okay. Did you ask her if she had ever used methamphetamines?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. Did she admit or deny the use of methamphetamines?
She denied.
Did she deny ever using them or using them recently?
She denied.
If you remember. I'm sorry.
Yep. I don't really want to answer. She didn't. I want to say she denied using recently.
Okay. Did she admit to using anything recently other than marijuana? And by recent, I mean, did you ask her if she'd used anything in the last year?
The only thing she admitted to was using marijuana.
Okay.
That's it. And she also stated that was the
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Did she give a reason why she was smoking marijuana, or did you ask her why she was smoking marijuana?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did she give an excuse for any past drug use?
She did.
And Your Honor, can we please get a time frame on this? Because any is a really broad time period.
We may.
Judge Sheet. I
understand she admitted starting to use drugs at the age of 13 and she's around 34. So go ahead.
Did you ask her when she stopped using other drugs besides marijuana?
I didn't ask that specific question, but I did ask. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so I believe you stated, well, I'll ask you, on that day that you met her face to face, did you also meet with Austin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask them that day to go take a drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they go take a drug test?
No, ma'am, they did not.
Did they state they would, or did they say they would not?
Would not.
So she said she wasn't using drugs other than marijuana, but she wasn't going to drug test for you. Is that correct?
Yes,
Objection
ma'am.
asked and answered.
Overruled.
And that day you put the safety plan in place with Amber, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And how long did that last? Was your testimony that lasted about 24 hours?
Correct. It didn't last
Or
very
less than-
long. Yes, ma'am.
And the next step you took was a safety plan with Eva Brooks. Is that correct? Or
Yes, ma'am. So something transpired at the residence.
Objection, non-responsive and narrative.
Sustained as to non-responsive.
when the first safety plan, when they violated the first safety plan, well, let me back up. The first safety plan put in place on March 22nd. Did you tell Jennifer that she needed to stay at the home with Amber? She and the children.
After it was violated, or
No, before. Was that part of the safety plan?
yes, ma'am. Part of the safety
Okay.
plan. Yes, ma'am.
But your testimony earlier was that Jennifer left Miss Amber's house. I just don't want to screw up her last name. Miss Amber's house with the children.
Yes, correct. They
Okay.
left.
And that was in violation of the service plan, of the
Yes,
safety
ma'am.
plan, excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And also part of that safety plan, well, was it a part of the safety plan for either Amber or Jennifer to inform you if anything changed with regards to that safety plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But neither of those ladies called and informed you that it had been violated or that there was a change or that she had to leave, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I'm going to object as to hearsay in regards to Amber. That's my objection.
Sustained.
When did you become aware that Jennifer had left with Amber's house with the children?
That following Monday.
Okay. Was that on or about March 27th?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did you see the children on March 27th?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I want to back up to the 22nd. Did you
Okay.
see the children on the 22nd?
The 22nd, I did see them. Before they was kicked out, I did see them. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now then, did you notify Jennifer or Austin that you were coming to see them on March 22nd? Did they have notice that you were coming?
No, ma'am, they didn't.
And Ms. Trousdale, let me interrupt just a second.
Yes.
Ms. Williams, did the mother tell you that Amber kicked them out?
No, sir.
Okay,
Not till later. Not till after the fact.
all right. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Trousdale.
Okay. So the parents had no notice that you were coming to Amber's house. You just showed up there.
Yes, ma'am, correct.
Okay. And how did you know to go there?
The paternal grandparents.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to anything that anyone other than my client or Mr.
Sustained.
Counsel's client.
Sustained.
Okay. When you saw the children, I believe you said that they were clean.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Did you notice anything about Sterling that concerned you?
Can we please use the children's initials?
I'm sorry. I apologize, Judge. Was there anything anything that concerned you about the little boy?
No, ma'am.
2-year-old?
No, ma'am.
Did you see his teeth that day?
Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am.
And what condition were his teeth in?
They looked like they had been chipped off to the gum line at the very top.
Okay. The top front teeth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So and without speculating what happened,
I'm going to object
Were they-
to her testifying to the condition of the child's teeth. I think that requires an expert opinion.
Overruled at
There's
this point, overruled.
again, to avoid you speculating anything, were the teeth gone completely? The front teeth, were they gone?
They appear to be gone.
Objection, non-responsive after they appear to be gone.
Were there fragments of teeth in the front?
Yes,
Your Honor, I'm
ma'am.
going to renew my objection as to this calls for an expert opinion.
Well,
Because I don't think it.
overruled. She initially said they were chipped off at the gum, was her initial observation about the teeth, right, Ms. Williams?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Overruled. Next question. Answer the
Did
question.
you question? Did that concern you?
At the time I asked mom when was the last.
Objection non-responsive.
Hold on. Just yes or no. I'll follow up.
Oh, okay, yes.
Let's back up. Let's back up. I did not get an answer or hear an answer to the fragment question. Did you see fragments?
You're real muffled, Allie.
Yeah, I can't really hear.
So, Ms. Williams, did
Yes,
you
sir.
have fragments of teeth left?
Yes, sir. But I could not determine if the teeth had been knocked out.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I just thought I'd try that. Okay. Did you get your question answered, Judge?
I did.
Okay. And so just yes or no, did that concern you? What the condition of his teeth, did that concern you?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ask either parent about the little boy's teeth?
Yes.
Who did you ask?
I asked both of them what happened and if something had happened to his teeth.
What was mom's response?
Nothing happened to his teeth. He's never knocked out any teeth.
Did you tell her, did you point or show her what your concern was?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you specifically ask her what happened to his front teeth?
No, I did not. I asked her, did the sibling fall and did he knock out several teeth? Is what I asked.
Okay. But you did mention the teeth.
Yes.
Okay. And when
Did
you
mention the
asked,
teeth.
okay. And when you asked Dad, did he acknowledge anything was wrong with the teeth?
Same thing. He gave me the same response. Nothing
Okay.
is wrong with their teeth and nothing happened.
Okay. So they expressed no concern for their child's teeth or mouth in any way.
Right.
Okay. You stated that your interview with the father was very short. Do you remember that testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you referring to March 22nd or March 27th?
March 22nd.
Okay. Is there a reason why you stated that was very short?
Because he kept coming in and out of the home. He didn't stay still enough for me to ask him a lot of questions.
And you stated you asked him to drug test that day?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he say he would not drug test?
He felt that it was not necessary to drug test.
Okay. Now, did you, going to March 27th, that's when you said you learned that Jennifer left Amber's home with the children against the safety plan?
Yes.
Okay. And did you speak to mom on the 27th?
No, ma'am. I spoke to maternal grandparent on the 27th.
Okay. When did Jennifer tell you that Amber kicked her out?
I'm sorry. I spoke with Jennifer and Eva the same day on the 27th. I spoke to them over the phone.
Okay. Did you ask mom again on March 27th to go drug test?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
So did she tell you on the 27th she would go drug test?
She did not.
And it was at that time she wanted you to approve her mother's home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you stated several times that Eva Brooks' home was not approved by the department. And if you stated why, I apologize, I missed it. Why, if you know, why was Miss Brooks' home denied?
Because there were safety concerns on the outside of the home and on the inside of the home. Okay. For a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old to stay there.
Moving forward to April 1st. You said you found the parents did you find them at the Love's truck stop or the convenience store, the Quick Time or whatever?
The QT stop. Yes, ma'am.
What time of day was that?
Around noon. I want to say it was around noon.
And did either parent acknowledge to you that they got there by walking?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to object, asked and answered.
Sustained.
You stated that's quite a distance from where they were staying. Is that correct? Was that your testimony earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the mileage? Do you know how far it is from Miss Brooks' home?
I'm not really sure, but it's pretty far. It's a distance.
Do you know if it's more than 5 miles?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Did the parents indicate to you anytime during your investigation that they walk most everywhere they go?
Yes, ma'am.
And on that day, was that the day you said mom stated she was on her way, excuse me, I'm sorry, on her way to the tax office?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, asked and answered.
Just asking for clarification, Judge.
Overruled.
Yes, ma'am.
In your conversation with Austin, on April 1st, is that when you you asked him about an altercation with Miss Brooks?
Yes, ma'am.
Or kicking Miss Brooks or putting his hands on her in any way?
All he told me was they got into an altercation, so they took a walk down the road.
Did you ask him if it became physical?
No, ma'am.
Here we go. Are you back, Ms. Trousdale?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got kicked off for a second. Did she hear my question or?
No, ma'am.
Don't believe so.
Okay. The home that you visited on April 23rd was Mr. Jonathan Myers. Did you say that home was inhabitable or uninhabitable?
Inhabitable.
Okay. Your concern was just the safety of the children at that home then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You also said that mom would not let you see the inside of the fridge. Was that at that home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask her why she was concerned about you seeing the inside of the fridge?
She told me that because it's not working at the time.
Did you request any information on Mr. Myers?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did they offer any information?
The only information they told me was that he lives at the residence and he works. That was it. So he's normally away.
Okay. And this was an unannounced visit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are they, to the best of your knowledge, are the parents still staying in that home?
From what I know. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you ask them again on April 23rd to drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was their response on that day?
That they did not feel like it was necessary to go.
I'm going to object as to asked and answered.
Overruled. You may answer.
They did not.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
They did not feel that it was necessary to go drug test. Jennifer stated no, she's absolutely not going to go drug test.
Okay. And did you explain to them why the department wanted them to drug test?
Yes, ma'am.
And the drug testing facility that they were supposed to go to, is that the Porter drug testing? What's the name of it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you know the distance between that and where they're staying right now?
No, ma'am. I don't know the distance.
So let me ask you about the living situation. You said you provided them with the names of at least 5 different resources, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you gave them the names and the phone numbers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did Jennifer stay in contact with you regarding her efforts in finding a housing?
She did.
Okay. So how often would Jennifer call you?
I feel I made more efforts than Jennifer did.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Do you know how many times Jennifer took the initiative to call you?
None.
Okay. Were you always the one reaching out to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you called her, were you able to get in touch with her most of the time?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Has her phone number changed?
Yes, ma'am.
How many times has it changed, if you know?
Over the course of the investigation, she's used text now numbers, so it hasn't been anything consistent. However, on the 23rd, now I think she does have a working phone number.
As of April 23rd?
I want to say yes, ma'am.
Okay.
She gave me a new number on April 23rd.
And since April 23rd, how many times has she called you?
Maybe 2 or 3 times.
Okay. And when she calls, did she give you any, did she let you know of any progress she had made?
No, ma'am.
With regards to housing, did she let you know of the obstacles she had been met with? Did she ask for help with the housing?
At that time, no, ma'am. I already had knew the obstacles, but at that time, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Ms. Trousdale?
Yes.
Let me stop you right there. I think we're going to need to bookmark it right here. I don't, we're obviously not going to finish today. I don't even believe that we would finish with this witness today. I'm sure that everybody has several questions to follow up. So let me ask you all if you are first in agreement to continue this hearing virtually only.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm in agreement.
Okay. And Mr. Pouncil, Ms. Adams?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think I'm getting yes from everyone. Now, my next question is, how are we on Monday, 5/20, 9 a.m. virtually?
Judge, I have a mediation that morning. I could do the afternoon.
Is there any possibility of beginning at 1? If that's an inconvenience or a problem, let me know.
That's okay for me, Judge.
That's okay for me, Your Honor.
Okay, 1. What about you, Ms. Trousdale?
I think that'll be fine. I know with this attorney, we're either going to have an agreement early on or we're not.
Okay. Well, maybe we should set it at 9:30. I'm just kidding. Mr. Hip, let me know if 1 o'clock's not good for you, or Ms. Adams can let me know. The emergency temporary orders are hereby extended until the adversary is complete, and I will schedule that Zoom momentarily and get it to the legal liaison and the coordinator to get to everyone. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else?
Your Honor, I do know that there were some issues, at least with my client's drug test. Could the department issue another 2054 for her to go and take the drug test?
Well, I don't have any problem with that. Obviously, we're not going to get any results back by then. I'm too late to test today, I'm quite sure. But if the department doesn't have any objections, then I'll order the mother to go Monday morning.
The department doesn't have an objection.
Okay. Now, I'm only going to require the department to make reasonable efforts to assist the parents in getting transportation other than transportation by the department or the department at this point. So it's going to be pretty attenuated, whatever those efforts might be, but I'm not going to require the department to transport at this point. With that, anything else? Okay.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. The court hereby orders, I don't think the parents are still with us, actually. Yes, Ms. Adams. Mm-hmm.
Is the drug test you just ordered a hair or a urine?
Just a urine at this point.
And I will send my client an email and direct her to go and test at Porter, at the Porter testing facility.
All right. Very good. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything of which I need to be made aware, Ms. Adams, Ms. Trousdale, CASA, concerning the current placement and the children at this point?
No, sir. If the witnesses are still in the waiting room, I would just ask that they be informed of. But I have number.
Yeah, they're not. They're
Okay,
not.
I'll call them.
Nobody's in the waiting room. So, all right. Okay. Everyone, stay safe, take care, have a good weekend. And I will get the new Zoom login information out shortly. And Ms. Kimberly Williams, I will look at Chambers County case shortly too. All right. So we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.